Hello everyone. Welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. In this video, we have pretty much the core of all three of the new heroes from Part The Mistveil. And as always, we always do an early look into what ideas I think of the cards we already have that these heroes will play in some idea of what they might want to be playing from what already exists. Of course, cards spike when things get revealed all the time, but this will be a general go-over of what we've already seen and the cards that I think people should be looking for. Not specifically the Majestics, but of course we will be talking about some of them. So let's get started with the first hero. This isn't the first hero in the set, I'm pretty sure, but the first one we're going to be talking about is Enigma. Enigma is all of them have 40 health, they all have 4 intellect. She's a mystic illusionist. She has the effect of your first spectral shield attack each turn costs 1 less, and once per turn at instant speed you can pay 3 chi to make a spectral shield with a +1 power counter on it. Now you may be thinking, what is chi? Chi is a resource that is generated from the backsides of the new Mystic instance. We have all of them down here, all the ones we know of, as well as each of them has a spec. But we will talk about them in a few seconds. Enigma pretty much is going to be your standard control illusionist, which I guess they all are control, but I think the main weapon, unless we get a new one, is going to be Iris. Just because I think Enigma is going to be able to stack up a lot of shields to keep coming in over and over, especially when her first one costs 1 less. But if your deck's all blues, which the Mystic strategy wants you to be, I don't know how much that 1 cheaper is going to cost. I guess it lets you throw a Miraging or something like that towards the end. But before we talk about the actual Mystic Illusionist or normal Illusionist cards, we need to go over all of the instants. There are 8 of them, and they're all very simple effects, but they're all really important. All of them cost 0, they're all legendary, they're all blue, and they say if you've played another blue card this turn, you transcend, which means just flipping it over and putting it into your hand. The backs of all of them will look like this, but it will say the actual card, like this is a drop in the ocean, will be a blue pitch that you can just pitch. So as long as you've played another blue, you get this small effect and you just get your resources back. But you need these to pay for chi costs. The only chi costs we know of are on the heroes. There could be more. I think that is definitely an assumption that is safe to make. So, and these do also pitch for a normal resource too. So if you want to just use them to get their normal effect, that's perfectly fine as well. And then they are resource, so they don't have block. You can't attack them. Can't attack, can't block, can't play them. That you can only pitch them. So all of them have a interesting effect. They're all instants. So we'll go over them all real quick. A drop in the ocean gives an attack -1 power. Homage to ancestors gains you 1 life. Pass over lets you banish a card in an opposing hero's graveyard. This one, which I don't know the name because we only have the not English version. I believe this is a path well traveled, something like that. But this one gives an attack go again. This is the best one by far. The only one, I thought we had the Marvel for this, but I guess we didn't. Preserve Tradition lets you put an attack action from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Rising Sun, Setting Moon lets you draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top. Stir the Pot just has you shuffle your deck. And a Grain that tips the scale gives an attack +1 power. Most of these we'll see play in every deck. Grain, Stir, maybe not Stir, but Grain, Rising Sun, the Go Again, Homage, I could see, maybe Passover, and Preserve Training. If Preserve Training sees play, Passover will definitely see play. The only one that's a little hard is a Drop in the Ocean. I think this one will definitely see play in Enigma, but I don't know if it'll be that good inside of Zen or New. But these are the 8. We're not going to go over any more of them for the other 2, just so we can go over them here. And notably, they're all blue for this card, which I guess we'll start with. Now, these are the cards I think that you could end up looking for. So when I think about Enigma, I think she's mainly going to be an aura-based illusionist. Back to that theming. But the problem is we don't really have too many base illusionist cards. And we also don't have any mystic cards because it's the new thing. So there really aren't any old things that we can base off of, or there aren't too many. There are a lot that are actually really good. One that I think is a little copium but could see play is Water Glow Lanterns. This is a card from Dynasty. Pretty much you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's the color of the Water Glow Lanterns, you make a Spectral Shield. I have the blue one here because your deck's going to be like 90% blues. I think the only red cards you might actually end up playing are like Miraging, Prismatic Shield, and Diriax. Of course, I have some other reds here because I think they could be interesting, but oh well. Speaking of the reds, let's go over them before I talk about the auras, because I think everyone's just going to jam the auras. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Coalescence Mirage is an interesting card. This one lets you get your 0-cost auras into play when your attacks get popped. Could be useful. Miraging is one I think you will just play because copying auras is really strong. Phantasmal Haze gives you a shield when it's popped. It's okay. And Spectral Procession does damage based on the number of shields you have. This is dependent on how many shields you can actually keep in play, but I think it's probably okay if you can get at least 4 always in play. So this card you could want to watch for. But of course the main one being Miraging, and then also Prismatic Shield, because making 3 shields is really strong when you're a deck that cares about making Spectral Shields and other auras. The last red I want to talk about, and we're going to end up talking about all 3 of these because it is a cycle, is the chakras. Mystic Illusionist has Moon Chakra. This is a 0-cost instant that prevents 3 damage, but if you've Transcended this turn, you prevent 5. Transcended is just flipping one of the instants. So this can be a free 5 prevent. That's really strong, and I think it could definitely see play, especially because I think the Water Glow Lanterns build is probably a meme. Looking at the rest of the blues, they're mostly auras. Haze Bending, Pazzing, Phantom Tidemaw, Pierce Reality, Shimmers of Silver. You're going to play 3 of each. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't. Shimmers and Tidemaw lets you get more damage. So does Pierce. Passing Mirage lets you protect things like your Miraging, which, yes, you want them to get popped, but you also don't really want them to get popped. And then Haze Bending for more shields. The last blue I actually want to talk about, and we're going to talk about each of these because each hero gets one, is a legendary. They're not specifically specs, but you can't play these in any of the other ones, so they're pretty much specs. Sacred Art Immortal Lunar Shrine is Enigma's instant. It is a Mystic Illusionist instant. All of these cost 3, so you will have to pitch a blue to play them. However, you do get the 3 resource back. Kinda. I guess you lose 3 because you are playing a blue, but you're getting a lot of other effects too. I think that Enigma probably has the best one because it's kind of insane. Pretty much all of them are modal spells that say if you've played a blue, you get all 3. But if you don't, you only get 1. Enigma can either make 2 shields, put a counter on every aura you control with Ward or Transcend. All of them have that 3rd Transcend mode. But, like, that's just insane. If there's ever a situation where you can safely activate this for all three modes, you get 2+1 power shields, and you can probably then just activate Enigma for a third. So this gets you 3 health, gets you 3 bonus damage if you can keep them alive, and is definitely a card I don't think you'd not play. I think you're definitely jamming this in every Enigma deck because just how strong I think this one is. The other two are a little weaker. For new, we don't know what some of the things hers does, but I still think that this is probably the strongest one. Moving on to new Alluring Desire. She is the new Mystic Assassin, and she has stealth synergies. Whenever an attack, your attacks with stealth gain whenever this chain link resolves, you banish all actions defending it, which matters for her second ability, which for a chi lets you look at the top card of your opposing hero's deck. If it's blue, you may banish it, and then until the end of the turn, you may play blue cards from their banish zone without paying their resource costs, which is great. If you play against someone like Guardian, you can throw a free Macho Grande at them. That's great. And again, against some decks, though, this is pretty bad. And it will be pretty bad most of the time. The main problem I see with New is that she just needs to be playing against a deck that plays good blues, which, yes, Zen and Enigma would like to play good blues, but that's still pretty bad. She also punishes your opponent for blocking, which is great. Assassin doesn't have the highest damage output, so punishing your opponent for doing the thing that easily beats you is a good thing. I have Black Tech Whispers here because this is definitely an aggressive hero. And also, I think this is the time we're going to start to see stealth contract cards. Stealth by itself sucks. Azuri makes them work because Azuri's effect is really dang good. New's effect is kinda bad. If you're not playing against a deck with good blues, it doesn't matter if your opponent's cards get banished. If the cards are going to the graveyard, they're not going to fatigue you anyway, so the banishing doesn't really matter. I don't think you can fatigue New, but oh well. I think Black Text will probably see play unless we get a new shoe that gives every blue attack go again, because then you could just play your opponent's entire banish zone and kill them in one turn. But for the cards that I want to talk about, of course, we have all the instants. I have all the stealth cards here. I think the best ones are definitely Infiltrate and the token ones. Infect, Sedate, and where is it? Wither. Give some tiny disruption or a little more damage. Backstab and Isolate are harder to block, yes. And Malign will be really good into Enigma, but none of the other ones really offer that much. I guess Prowl is 1 extra damage, sure. But Infiltrate is kind of the main one. This is a card that not a lot of people play because it's not good in Azuri. But I think it definitely has its spot inside of New. It is of course, 0 for 3 at red, 3 block. It is a Majestic, so it's only at red. It is stealth, and when it hits a hero, you banish the top card of their deck, and you can play it until the end of your next turn. So this is kind of what she wants to be doing, which is just stealing opponents' cards and playing them. So you have a lot of potential to steal good things from your opponent. The real problem with stealth cards, though, is that none of them have Go Again. Azuri can get around it by playing a lot of other things that have Go Again, things like Rabble, things like Back Alley Break Line? Or Looking for Scrap, not Back Alley Break Line. Looking for Scrap, Nimble Strike, those types of cards. So you get a lot of value from some of the things you block with, some of the things you already play. But New wants to be banishing a lot of things. And also, since New isn't swapping in, we get to play some of the cards Azuri doesn't play, such as Razor's Edge and the Spikes. Razor's Edge is just a free 3 damage buff, just so you can make sure you land your stealth attacks. And the Spikes all give you some extra tokens, disruption, or damage, right? These are all just good you're going to play them. They're only in red. You kind of have to. Another issue with New is that she doesn't really have blues. Azuri plays the blue stealth cards because they pitch 3, and it doesn't matter how strong they are, but New kind of cares. So New is going to be really dependent on the Mystic cards they actually print this set, I think more than the other 2 heroes. The last red we're going to be talking about is Tide Chakra. This is New's Chakra. It gives an assassin or mystic attack +3, and if you've transcended this turn, +5 instead, which is really, really strong. A +5 bump to anything will sort of guarantee that it hits, because even 4 blocked E-Reacts can't stop this by itself. So Tide Chakra will definitely be a card I think we will be seeing inside of these decks. Last few cards I want to talk about are some of the other contract cards. I said that was the last red. I forgot about Leave No Witness, just because of how good it is. Eradicate, because banishing a lot of cards is good for you. And we have another assassin that uses surgical extraction better than Arachne does. Big rip. This one is the one to look for, though, because, hey, this is about blue cards. What does New love banishing? Blue cards. Of course, Codex. Can't leave home without it if you're an assassin player. This card's insanely good. Just wanted to put it here to just say that I did, because everyone's going to be putting this in the deck. And then finally for New, let's talk about Sacred Art Undercurrent Desires. This is New's legendary instant. And the 3 modes are create a Fang Strike and Slither in your hand, banish 2 cards from an opposing hero's graveyard, and transcend. So we don't know what Fang Strikes or Slithers are yet. I assume that Slither is a cheap going-in attack, probably free, probably like a 0 for 1, with stealth, I'd assume, and has go again. And I assume Fang Strike is a maybe bigger attack, maybe a 2 for 5 or a 1 for 4, also with stealth. Just some damage you can get in. That's also a stealth threat. I think that would make the most sense. And then the banishing effect is definitely what you want to be doing. If your opponent ever plays a blue you want, or they blocked with a blue you want, you can just get rid of it. Or if your opponent is a graveyard-based deck, something like Katsu, you can get rid of their bonds targets. That's pretty good. So there are just a few things that this card does really well. I do think that this is the weakest, though. The banishing doesn't really seem to matter, and we need to see what Fang Strike and Slither actually do, but I really don't think they'll be stronger than our current options for just stealth cards and attack reactions. Although I do think that this card is playable, it's probably going to be the only one that might not see play in any deck at all. Because if Fang Strike and Slither aren't good, it's not a good card. Finally, let's talk about my favorite hero of the bunch, Zen, Tamer of Purpose. Zen has a once per turn instant to make a Crouching Tiger in your hand, and search your deck for a card with combo, banish it, shuffle your deck, and then you may play it this turn. So Zen sort of has an on-demand Katsu trigger available to him, which is great. He also makes a Tiger, which makes him perfect for your Tiger-based decks. Flex Claws can make extra Tigers. Growl pumps up your next Tiger. Pounce and Key combos with them. Key Unleashed is another card that combos with them. Tiger Swipe lets you have an insanely wide turn. And Roar of the Tiger pumps your Tigers, and also makes one. I think if we see, and then Predatory Streak makes multiple. I think if we see a full Tiger-based deck, all of these will be in it. Maybe except Key Unleashed. But I think the main package we're going to end up seeing is going to be a smaller Tiger package. Something along the lines of Roar of the Tiger, Tiger Swipe, Predatory Streak, and Key Unleashed. Simply because Key Unleashed is something you can tutor off Zen and Zen can turn on himself because you're getting a Tiger. So this can just be a tutorable 2 for 7. Tiger Swipe is the one you'll be getting when you have a wider turn with a Pred and a Roar or an Art of War, because you can just land a massive Tiger turn, hopefully proc some hit effects, or if you have multiple pumps, you do a lot of damage. A card I did forget to put on here is Art of War, because notably, Zen creates the Crouching Tiger in your hand, which means that you can banish it to an Art of War to get a free Art of War activation, which is really good. Turning that Tiger into 2 cards is great. And then the last things I want to talk about before the Chakra and the Instant are, I think, if Zen isn't a insane deck because of Tigers, I think he just could be a Dishonor deck. Because of Zen's innate ability to tutor out anything, I think we'll definitely see Dishonor as a playable card in this deck, especially because he has easy access to bonds lines just like Katsu does. Of course, it hurts that you don't get the potential to Mugenshi chain someone later or early if you have an Art of War turn, getting it off to get 3-0 for 3s. But just having bonds, maybe even you still play Whelming just to come off the Surging if you have it, could be a viable strategy. I have some more equipment up here and a Kodachi here because a Ninja kind of needs a new weapon. But Pouncing Claws I think could be a playable shoe to just get an extra Tiger in some situations. And Tiger Stripe Shuko I think is definitely a great glove option, considering that, yes, these cards do have combo, but it's not like Katsu where every card has combo. You're probably not going to use Breaking Scales as much as you could use Tiger Stripe Shuko, considering that you're making a Tiger a lot of turns, and those trigger this. Moving on to the Chakra. Wind Chakra is Zen's card. It gives your next Crouching Tiger +3, but if you've transcended, +5, which makes this a 0 for 5, which is really, really good. If you have a hand where you transcend and then you can activate Zen, as long as you have 2 other resources, you can play Zen's Tiger for 5 off the Wind Chakra and then come in with a Ki Unleashed for 7, having a 12 damage turn, which really is not bad. So I do think that Wind Chakra is definitely a playable card. I think all the Chakras are really good. We just have to see which ones turn out to be better. And then finally, we have Sacred Art Jade Tiger Domain. This is Zen's instant. And he gets to make 2 Tigers, or give your Tigers +1 this turn, or transcend. So this is like a 7th board pump, because there's no way they're giving another one to Tigers. I think it's okay. Obviously, this is the card you want to be transcending on that go-off turn. If you ever get a turn where you can get this full effect, plus have a Roar and a Tiger Swipe, you're in business. Which, I mean, you then don't even need to specifically have the Tiger Swipe, because this is a Chi in your hand. You can pitch it to Zen to get a Tiger Swipe. So being able to transcend this plus have a Roar is like an insane turn. So I think this one definitely has the most potential, but I don't think it's the best. I think Enigma's is probably still better, just on average. But activating this could be an insane tool. I think Zen's problems are about the same as Nu's. Ninja has good blues, but Ninja's blues are good because you pitch them or banish them. Ninja's blues aren't good because you play them. So I think Zen could also have a hard time actually transcending cards, but this is said all about blues. I'm sure there will be like a blue Blaze Headlong that'll be like insane, or some other good blue card that you want to play alongside something else, or some Mystic Ninja card, a Mystic Assassin card that is blue that is actually really good that you play in every deck. I'm sure we'll get some of those, and everything will all be fine. But for now, I think it's going to definitely be hard for Zen and Nu to transcend stuff, but it'll be very easy for Enigma. Either way, looking at everything so far, I think New is definitely the worst of the new heroes. Of course, she could get some insane card that makes her insanely broken, and Fang Strike and Slither could be just like insanely good. But of course, it's Assassin. You get Codex. She'll always be strong. But I don't know if she's better right now than some of the other things Assassin could be doing. Obviously, only Azuri, because Arachne wish they were better, but sadly they aren't. The second best, so in the middle, I think is going to be Zen. Zen definitely has that aggro potential, but I don't know if he'll be as consistent as Katsu. Katsu just gets to play with his whole deck in his hand, but Zen does require more setup than he does. So we'll have to wait and see on who's truly the better blue ninja, because Fi is not like them at all. I think Zen and Katsu will definitely have very similar builds. And then the best of three, I think, is definitely Enigma, just because some of the cards we already have, I think, are already slams into Enigma. We already have cards that help out her strategy. Even if Illusionist definitely has the weakest total card pool by itself, I mean, normal Illusionist doesn't have a single hero. But, hey, there's always room for improvement with a new set. But with all that said, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully next week we have the Armory deck KO fully out and we can look at it. If not, we'll take a look at another deck list. So I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.